Welcome to What Lies Ahead. I'm your host, Chris Raffini, lead singer of the Long Island band Overthrow. On my podcast, I explore everything related to the hardcore scene through the eyes of artists, promoters, and record labels. As always, please like or subscribe on all social media platforms. For more information and updates, check out our Instagram page at What Lies Ahead _podcast and find us on Facebook by searching What Lies Ahead. Now, on to the show. Today's guest is Dylan Grove, host of Your Life in America on 91.9 FM in Oxnard, California. You can also listen to every episode on all streaming platforms after the show airs on Saturday nights. Dylan has been part of their hardcore scene for years, helping book shows and helping build the Oxnard community. We'll talk about his history in hardcore, the evolution of the Oxnard scene, his love for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and what the future holds for him in his radio show. Dylan, what's going on, man?
What's up, Chris? Thank you. Thank you for the kind words and that intro. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course, man. Your show is great. Well, my band Overthrow, Mike and I were fortunate enough to be guests on your show last year, last November. And I
Yep.
check it out all the time. Obviously, the streaming because I can't get the FM from New York here, but from Long
Yeah.
Island. But I listen to all your shows. You have great guests. You have a lot of people from New York, but not just New York, California, all over the country, which we're going to talk about, obviously, in a little bit. I guess where we'll start, Dylan, with you is there's a lot to talk about. As I said in the intro, right? It's your involvement within the Oxnard scene, which is thriving. Mystery
Yeah.
Shop, which is such a cool spot to play. We're psyched to come out and play that place in
Yeah.
a little bit. But that, obviously, your love for baseball, which we'll talk about, and obviously, as a bitter Met fan, we'll talk about we'll talk about how how well the Dodgers like. Edwin Diaz is hurt. He's still going to be hurt when this comes out, and you guys are still
Yes.
killing it. You guys are still killing it, the
Don't really need
Dodgers.
him, but shout out
Yeah.
to Evan Diaz. We love him, but
Yeah,
we're
he'll be
all
back right in time, and I told my kids this. He'll be back in time to win you your third World Series in a row. I'm telling you, don't worry about it. So
Yep.
the Dodgers are still doing well, but no, but there's a lot to talk about with that, from your involvement with helping with the shows in the community, your radio show. But let's start from the beginning, man. Let's talk about. Do you remember your first introduction to hardcore when you were younger, and what kind of led you to making this? This is my weekend every weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, yeah, thank you so much again for asking me to come on the show. I appreciate it. I so I grew up in this city in Southern California called Corona, California, and we had this venue there called the Showcase Theater.
Mm.
You may have heard of it. It's pretty. I mean, at times people called it like the West Coast CBGBs, and so I could like skate there from my house, and
Oh, it's so cool.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
didn't really realize what it was at the time. I just kind of like would skate by it. There was like a little there were skate spots near it, and I would always see like people with mohawks and patches, and like at the time I really just listened to like Rancid and like that kind of stuff because from my mom and my family at home, like radio, punk and stuff like that. And yeah, I just got like I don't know, I just had a couple friends that skated and they started going to like street punk shows there and I got into some like the Dickies and a Global Threat and the Virus and Cheap Sex and those kind of bands. And my friend was like, "Hey, you should come to one of these shows at the Showcase Theater." And I was like, "All right." And it was this band called Career Soldiers, and they were a street punk band, very like big Liberty Spike backpatch style band. And I went to that show with him, and it was just awesome, man. It was like it wasn't a hardcore show, but it was the first time in my life that I was able to stand like the singer of the band was like putting the mic out for the kids to sing along and I had gotten into this band and I remember just like being able to sing the words into the mic was like because I had seen like Bouncing Souls at House of Blues, but that's different. So this whole thing and like going to Circle Pit the first time for the first time, I was just like I left that show feeling like that was the coolest thing I had ever seen and like I just wanted to do more of it. And then had a lot of friends and of mine in high school. Our whole city was very much involved in punk and hardcore because of the venue. Like that was really the main reason why our local scene was so big. And my friend Rudy showed me like Gorilla Biscuits was like the first band I really heard that was like, oh, and he went on to be in this band New Brigade and Minority Unit, and he was like friends with the Soul Search guys. They all were from Corona, and yeah, man, like I heard Gorilla Biscuits and I was like, oh, this is like even better than like street punk, you know?
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
like the Violence, the Ceremony record had just came out, and he showed me that record, and those were like the first two things I heard: Gorilla Biscuits and Ceremony,
Yeah,
our sixth period history class in
that's
like
cool.
in high
Mhm,
school. And then I went and saw Ceremony at Showcase Theater not long after that, and it was that show was the crazy. I think it was like that was '06 probably. Craziest thing I had ever seen in my life, dude. Like
mhm.
insane, like stage diving and side to side moshing, and um it was crazy. That was
Yeah,
the coolest thing I had ever seen in terms of like music, and kind of just took off from there. You know, I played in a band in high school. It was like a punk band, and went to a lot of shows. And then the Showcase Theater closed down, and that was kind of it. And then I got really into drugs and partying, and
mhm.
got into heroin, and like really, like my life went like really bad. And I'm like almost sober 11 years now, so it's like,
That's awesome, man.
yeah, it's good now.
That's awesome.
And
Right,
so I
right,
kind
right.
of fell away from like hardcore for a while because like I said, my friend Rudy, shout out to him, he was the one that put me on to hardcore, and he was, you know, he was in Minority Unit and New Brigade, and you know, him and those guys all went on to get in, like do those bands, and I kind of like was in jail and like
Mm,
running the streets, and yeah, I really like didn't go to a show from 2010 until like 2017
right, because of everything. Right. So
because of those reasons. So but yeah, man, I just like Ceremony and Trash Talk and what I heard those bands singing about and those lyrics and how hard that music was at the time was like very fitting to the way I felt about life and just everything, you know.
everything.
Yeah.
So two things which I'm going to sum up, and they're going to be people are going to hear me say this, and they're going to be two total opposite ends of this spectrum. One thing I'll
Yeah.
talk, the first part will be, you said something about going to shows, like, right? There is a difference, and I've said this too before when I've been, I've had conversations with people. It's there is just something more personal about going to a hardcore show where you're
Yeah.
talking about you're up front, you're singing along, the mic's getting handed to you. Then the singer and the bands are just like walking around the venue, right? But you saw Bouncing Souls, and even like step bigger, like you go to other shows in bigger arenas and stuff, and it's just like you're here, the band is all the way over there. There's just something, again, like I said, more personal about it. The second part we'll talk about to sum up is what you just discussed, where there was that 7 year period where you weren't really going to shows because of
Yeah.
that. But like, look at where you are now, what you turned around, and what you're doing with your career with it, helping people now, right?
Yeah.
So, which is
Yeah.
awesome, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one band I'll give that exception to for the intimacy exception was Oasis Reunion. That was like,
You are the third or fourth person on my podcast that's brought up Oasis. And like, yeah,
yeah,
within the last year. Yeah, I had a chance
yeah,
to go and we couldn't go. My kids had travel baseball.
yeah.
So we
That
were
we
unable to
weren't,
make it.
you know, I didn't really I mean, I was on the floor for that, but barricade back far behind, but that's a band that I guess would get the pass where it's like that was like one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
God, who said it to me, the show, and other people have said that to me, how great they were, but how
Yeah.
many they played MetLife, which is in Jersey,
So
which
sick.
is
Yeah.
yeah, which is essentially right. It's like outside New York City, right? So how many hardcore kids or
For
adults or
sure.
our age were there at that show? Like how many? And I guess I never put a finger on like back then in the late '90s how many people loved them like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know tons of hardcore kids and friends that love Oasis. That was, you know, hell, I mean, I kind of started looking at them differently as a band once I realized how many hardcore people like and hardcore kids like them. They're like very punk, you know.
Yeah, I
Uh,
heard there's from my understanding, an Oasis like album coming out with some hardcore bands doing the
Oh,
Oasis
really?
songs. It's coming. It's coming from my understanding,
That's not surprising at
which is
all.
kind of cool. Which will be
Yeah.
fun. So that's it. So you got what was your first hardcore show you said? Do you remember your first one?
Like, I actually I always forget this because I didn't really know, but I actually saw 25 to Life at the Showcase Theater, and I think it was like 25 to Life, Furious Styles, which is like Section Hate, like the Mexi from Section Hate was like his old band, and 25 to Life. But I wasn't like a hardcore fan yet. So I kind of just was like skating, and we went in and watched 25 to Life, and I was just kind of like, oh, like, people were like windmilling, and I was like,
Mhm.
hardcore dancing, and I was just kind of like, so that was kind of like but I didn't really know what it was yet, but that ceremony show was my first true hardcore show. So that was 2000, it was either I think it was '06 or '07, and it was ceremony at the Showcase Theater with Sabretooth Zombie, which was like another
Mm,
band from the Bay at that time. And I don't remember the other bands. But yeah, I would say that would be the one. The ceremony 2006, or I think it was 2007 actually. Ceremony at the Showcase Theater.
cool. That's a good one. So
Yeah.
I know you don't necessarily, we were talking prior to this. Then how did you start getting involved? Now, this was after, right? I'm guessing 2018, 19, maybe.
Yeah.
Not necessarily booking the shows
Yeah.
within Oxnard, right? Is it at the Mystery Shop you do this? And if it isn't, correct me if I'm wrong, if you do it someplace else.
We have a
Um,
couple different venues now. The Mystery Shop is probably about a year we've been having shows there.
and it
We had
seems like the place just from over here, like the East Coast. Seems like a lot of bands that, like on our end, when they go there, that's the place they're
Yeah,
playing.
now I would say yeah. For just a standard hardcore show, Mystery Shop is the spot. Now we had this really cool place called the CFF, which was like a dance recital studio where there was like mirrors on both sides of the room, wood floors, and that was the spot we used for a couple years. Like Think I Care played there. The first ever Haywire California show was at that spot in
Oh,
Oxnard. Yep. It was like Haywire and Think I Care was at that dance recital studio in Oxnard. Um, but yeah, but like to answer your question, I guess so 2017 I was like 2 years sober, and I had gone to see like Ill Repute in Oxnard. It was like a bigger show at the Ventura Theater. But Ceremony was doing this weekend in California that was actually called Your Life. I think it was Your Life in Los Angeles, and it
mm,
was like a 3 day because I didn't have social media or anything, so, and I didn't know that now like Instagram and social media was kind of the way that shows were uh like promoted, um because I had kind of missed all that. And I don't even remember how I found out about this ceremony weekend, but I went to the Echo in LA and I saw ceremony, and that was the first time I had stage dove in a long time, and like,
nah,
the first time I had really moshed in a long time. And it was awesome, man. Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands of all time.
mhm.
And they were awesome. And then I just kind of started. I went to Sound and Fury that year. I went to Sound and Fury 2018, Sound and Fury 2019. There wasn't honestly a lot of shows happening in like big shows happening in the 805 Ventura Oxnard area. Like Dead Heat was playing, but I hadn't really met anyone out here yet. I was still kind of like figuring out how to be a sober person in the world, and
Yeah.
going to like bigger shows in LA. And then and then the pandemic happened, or I had met some guys from some bands in Oxnard, and then we connected on Instagram, and I was going to do an interview with this band called In Time from Oxnard area. And then the pandemic happened and everything shut down. And so I kind of just started staying in touch with these guys on Instagram. And my friend Cameron, who actually is like the forefront of Ventura County hardcore shows now, he books everything, and he's like he does all that stuff. He was the drummer in Time. And so, anyways, I interviewed them eventually on the phone, on the radio during the pandemic in like beginning of 2020. And I don't know, man, it all happened like very organically. Like
Yeah.
those guys just became my friends. And they mailed me like zines and like a tape, and we just stayed in touch, man. And like I just started reaching out to people, and I interviewed like Jeremy from Fury. I interviewed like One Step Closer and Anxious and like all these bands throughout that time, just by like hitting people up, and
Yep.
so then in 2021, when there was the first show in Oxnard, I finally met all those guys from the Oxnard scene in person
Uh,
at Dead Heat World at War record release at the Tavern in Ventura, which Regulate actually played.
uh,
And so there's some Long Island for you.
yep.
And The Fight actually played that.
Oh,
Yeah, so met all those guys, and then basically my friend Cameron and then our friend Vince kind of just like, no one's booking all ages hardcore shows in Oxnard right now. So my friend Cameron was like, just started booking shows. And I just kind of was there, man. And I took an interest in learning how to do sound and kind of learning how the shows work and how does all this work. And now I'm like a responsible adult. I'm not like a idiot young kid who's drunk all the time. Like, and I actually had something to contribute that's positive. And I just kind of wanted to learn how it all worked. And I did. And we just kind of developed this really close group of friends, and we all kind of worked really well together, me, Cameron, and Vince. And we just kind of, yeah, dude, we just did it.
yeah.
And it went well. And we had that place, the CFF, the dance recital place. We had shows there. And then we all were just kind of grinding, like at first it was like booking each other's bands and us moshing for each other, and maybe like 20 people would be there, and it was kind of like, but it was fun. We were just doing it because we loved doing it. And then we had some, like, that band Spy, we had them play in Oxnard, and that kind of was pretty big for us. And then like Odd Man Out and Raw Brigade, and then like Scowl. And this is like
Yeah.
2022, early 2022, like Big Boy, before they were like,
Uh,
Big Boy, where it was like 8 people maybe inside and like one person singing along. And yeah, man, it just kind of like, all the way up until Turnstile at the Oxnard Elks Lodge last year. It just kind of like, and that's kind of how I got involved in the whole thing, is just making friends with those guys and in the local bands and interviewing them and just kind of showing up and wanting to help and be a part of it, and just being able to contribute and give something to the scene, something positive, and just being a reliable person. And that's kind of how it all happened.
yeah. Well, you are twofold. One with helping with the shows, but then also obviously with your life in America, which we're going to talk about in a sec.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the shows, it sounds like a brotherhood with you three of you really, and then I'm sure there's other people who help you. And like the what you do with the sound and all that other stuff is so important, obviously, to a show. Like without the sound, like you can't have the show really, right? Right. So it's really
True,
important for
yeah.
what you do. So did it just start from that time? It sounds like, well, you kind of almost answered it, but in your mind while you were doing it, you were just doing it. It was fun. Did it feel like it kept building? Because look what you said, like, yeah, you started from the beginning and then you had Turnstile.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy to kind of
it's
reflect on it.
they're the biggest band out there now, right? So talk
Yeah.
about that. Did it feel that way, or it was just that much fun? You were just doing it as you go, kind of thing.
I think like the short answer is no, it didn't. It was kind of like you know, we just love hardcore, and we just wanted to hang out and have good all ages gigs, because I think that's like what was there for us when we were getting into hardcore. And we wanted to like, that was my friend Cameron is always like, always all ages, always like open to
That's awesome.
everybody. Like, it's like a thing where like we don't have stages in Oxnard, so like it's like, floor shows and like
Those are the best.
yeah. And I think like there were times where we would kind of stop and reflect on like like, oh, this is sorry, I just noticed my sister's name is on my Zoom thing. Sorry, that threw me off. Um, yeah, we would just stop and kind of, I think, reflect and be like, oh, like this year we did this many shows and we had these bands and like that's pretty sick, you know? Like, and then we kind of started getting to a point where like we're gonna need to find bigger venues because the 200 cap dance recital studio is not going to fit, speed or like is not going to fit like I can't even I'm like, naysayer or like all these like these shows that we were doing Tear, Madball, Fiddlehead. We started doing all these shows and we're like um yeah, it just like we just made good relate I made a lot of really good relationships with people through the radio show interviewing people and just kind of making friends with people and kind of just being like, hey, if you guys ever need anything, hit me up. Like, I'm putting your band on the radio, like, just because you guys are cool. And then Cameron going on tour with like this band Terena, who's like a local band from here, going on tour with them and just meeting tons of people. And then our friend Vince, who he's like Oxnard, like hardcore legend. He just knows people. He was in this band. Oh God, why am I blanking on it? In like a kind of like a emo kind of band,
Mhm.
toured with like AFI, and so he knows people. He's like an OG, and so all of that combined just kind of worked really well, and we all work really well together. I think that's important. No one was ever trying to like do anything to one up each other. It's more just like we're just friends and we just want to have fun and have good shows and we want the kids to have good shows too. And yeah.
Yeah, you could tell, and you could tell that from what you're talking about, but also even little things like the post with all the shows that you have. And it sounds like each
Yeah.
of you have a very important role in terms of what you do. It sounds like Cameron's books the shows, right?
Yeah, big time. Shout out
Yeah,
to him, man. He's
and
the he's the booking mastermind. He's so good at it.
do you
Yeah.
guys at all jump in with that, or that's it, you just that he runs with
I
that most
mean,
90% of the time?
I mean, I did the Your Life in America Fest in 2022 at this place called Casa de la Raza with like Downpresser and like that band Click. It was like one of their first shows. Andy Diehard's band from Tehachapi.
BDR, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was Ill Communication. It was his old band,
Oh, okay.
but yeah. And I booked that whole thing myself and did that whole thing myself. So but yeah, it was more like when things started getting like I don't really like talking to agents or booking manager or tour managers. Like I have too much stuff in my own life to do, and Cameron has really taken that on as like he's really good at it and he's great at putting together lineups and like so he's kind of like taking that over, you know?
Cool. And then you obviously the sound, right? And everything, like you'll take care of the everything related to the sound at a
I
show, I would guess.
can, yes. I will my our Vince Amador, he does Room 11 records. He records every local band. He
Oh yeah.
has the whole back line. The back line that Overthrow will play on in July is his back line. He taught me everything I know about sound. He taught me like all that stuff. Like he's the man, you know. So because of him, I can I can set up and run a show from beginning to end, all the sound and all that stuff. Yeah.
Great. So what you got, so like the mystery shop, it's like shows are there, they're running strong there. The other places, who goes there and just gets the place? Like how does that work out, right?
Well,
Like,
the mystery shop is a comic book store actually.
okay.
And it's like a Magic the Gathering store. Like
That's
they sell like Magic the Gathering cards and they sell like baseball cards and stuff.
that's cool.
Um
I'll have to get something for my kids then. My son's definitely
yeah,
gonna want
there's
something
cool
later on.
stuff there. Like you guys, it's a cool spot, man. Like minus hardcore shows, like it's a cool spot, but we just kind of like so that place I keep mentioning, the CFF, was across the street from the mystery shop in downtown Oxnard. And I think I don't know exactly how the connection happened. Maybe one of the owners of the mystery shop came to one of our shows. And I think they were having like kind of like underground subculture type things there already. Like like stand-ups, like open mics and like rap shows and stuff. And so I think through Instagram, we've, found each other. And then, yeah, we had one show there and it was just like, they were, they loved it. They were like, this
It's
is
awesome.
dope. Like tons of kids, man. There's so many young kids in the Oxnard scene that come out, and I think they're just down with it. The guys that own the mystery shop, shout out to Fusion and Alex, those guys are awesome, and they're just down for it,
Mhm.
And, just have a relationship with them that there's like a mutual trust,
That's
Um,
perfect, right? You have that,
yeah,
you can keep doing it. Because that, one more, I actually wanted to ask you, is there a show that you were part of that really stands out that you're really proud of that you were part of?
Turnstile at the Oxnard Elks
I
Lodge.
mean, I was
Without a doubt. And I know that's probably but for like the reason I say that is because I mean there's so many like on a personal level, Fiddlehead and at the women's club, which is like a women's center, Madball at the women's center in Ojai, Terror at the women's center in
mm,
Ojai as like on a personal level as like those being some of my favorite bands, getting to like meet Freddie Madball and Pat Flynn and like help Madball load their gear into you know what I mean? Like and like those that stuff was like super cool. But like to have like VCHC like Ventura County hardcore shows like this little thing, um to have that host like a show like Turnstile at a place like the Oxnard Elks Lodge, like was just incredible to be a part of. Like it's
mm,
those like their team was so down to earth and chill and cool, and like they rolled in and it's like literally the Elks Lodge, like like in like if you could picture what a giant Elks Lodge room looks like, that's what
mhm.
it is, And
And Turnstile was in there.
for those guys
That's
to walk
awesome.
in there and just be like, "Oh, this is like like really like a real DIY thing," and for us to be like, this is the front of house we have. This is like, what you guys asked for. We can't give you everything, but this is what we have. Like true DIY operation, the most professional we can make it. And for those guys to come in and just be like, yeah, it's all good. Like we like, fuck it, we'll make it work.
That's
And
cool.
like from the band to like the guitar tech to the sound guy to like like the whole thing, like it was awesome. And like to have like everybody in Oxnard and everyone from surrounding areas, like just there's probably 1,000 people there. Like it was just awesome, man. Like
Yeah.
it was just, and then our friend's band Ceramic opened, like they were, and like Turnstile people wanted a local band to open, so like, um, yeah, it was just incredible,
Yeah, it sounds it.
just kind of a very like, like time like to reflect on from like 2021 to 2025. Um, yeah, it was awesome. That's
Almost like summed up everything you did was,
yeah,
and you're still going, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that
yeah.
was the end game of it,
But
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 like
no, like
also,
that was a moment. That would like to go back to earlier, like that was a moment where we were all kind of like it gives me chills to think about like
yeah,
where it's like this is fucking awesome,
yeah,
like this is
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're talking, talking the Oxnard scene sounds like it's thriving, right? And like
Yeah.
I said, a big part of that, because if someone's not putting together shows, there's going to be no scene. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the reality. And you're consistently doing it. Um, and you're booking shows way in advance. Like I know when we got off with your when we got off with you in November, I remember talking to Mike.
Yeah.
I'm like, we should do something, And then we got like, and it was like 6 months in advance. So I'm sure you guys are booking
Yeah.
already late into December, probably, or Cameron's working on it,
Yeah.
like
No, I mean,
So
yeah, I'm trying to think. I think we're like into probably like September, maybe October right now. There might be some, I think there's some October stuff on the calendar, maybe.
crazy. It's how it's got to be
But
now,
dude, I mean, it's like I mean, we've had stuff put into plan like 6 months in advance. That's not like unheard.
All right.
That can be normal,
hmm
Um, yeah,
So let's talk the Oxnard scene, how it's produced some incredible bands and stuff like that. So, you know, how would you describe it right now? Like how would you with the shows and everything like that with for people who aren't familiar with it or listening to it from here?
Um, yeah, I mean, I live in Santa Barbara, which is like north of Oxnard, like 30, 40 minutes, and I grew up in Corona. So I'm not speaking this from like a as an Oxnard native
Hmm.
or anything like that. But like that's my family, like
Yeah.
Oxnard hardcore is like a part of me, and I love, like, it's like my family, so I feel like it's like I am part of it in that way. It's cool, man. Right now, like there's so much youth, it's like there's so many
Keeps it moving, right? Yeah.
yeah, like there's this band Flatline. Also one thing I'll say is like what in my small experience of watching this thing grow is that you got to have some good local bands, there's got to be bands that are like true hardcore kids that are just know what's up and are playing tons of shows and going to shows, and like I think that's got to be part of like the blueprint of it. So we've had like Terraina, Ceramic, In Time, Bare Minimum. Like these are all smaller bands from our area, but like that has been part of it because kids like love those bands. But they played a bunch. So I think that's definitely got to be part of it. And then because kids saw those, and now there's like other kids, younger kids starting bands, and the bands are good, and those kids all come to
Mm.
shows. So it's like we already it's just like a it's like real community like vibe, like these kids are in this band called Flatline, and they literally have probably come to like every VCHC show in the last like 2 years. Like not even joking, they come to every show. And they started a band, so it's like a no-brainer. Like they're gonna play our shows because
Yeah.
they
They're
support the band.
supporting, they're
If
there.
your
Yeah.
band sucks, but you come to every show and you mosh and you buy merch and you hang out, like you're gonna get on a show, even if your
Mhm.
band sucks, like, and if your band's good and you have a professional recording, but nobody knows who you are and you don't like come to any shows, like no one's gonna put you on a show, even if you're better than the other band, because these kids are coming out and they want to be a part of it. And this band Flatline, like they, started coming to shows, met all of us. We met all of them. Super cool kids. Literally, they're in high school. I did an interview with them on Your Life in America. Literally, they're in high school, and they just got put on
Awesome.
100 Demons show in LA. Like they're opening for
But well
100 Demons.
deserved, right? Everything you're
Yeah,
telling me,
yeah,
they deserve it.
yeah. So like they're opening for 100 Demons, and that's kind of thing. Just think like that's just kind of like you know like the way it should be in a way. And but yeah, we have great shows happening all the time. Bigger shows, smaller shows. Yeah, it's just awesome. Like
Yeah.
it's, the heart all the Tuesday night, late nights with 16 kids at a show for, like all those that stuff kind of like pays off in the end. And like we're very fortunate to be in this location of like California. A lot of bands, like, no disrespect to LA, but like a lot of bands want to play in Oxnard more than they want to play in LA, just
Mm.
because like it's more of like I don't know, I'm just that's just what people have said, no disrespect to LA, but like, and LA is awesome, they have great shows there and stuff, but a lot of bands like really love to play in Oxnard, and want to play here more than they want to play in LA, which is cool.
That is cool. Well, look what you built. Like that's what it is. I know for us, like Oxnard was 100%. But like, yeah, let's start with that. I think that's where we're starting. I think is with is in
Yeah.
Oxnard. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
which is gonna be fun. So, let's talk Your Life in America, right? So
Yeah.
your radio show, which was it's a great show. It really is. It's an
Thanks,
hour.
man.
It's cool how you.
Thank
I
you.
can't get the FM, but I know like I liked what you did, how you asked us like what songs we want on there.
Yeah.
You played this, like you played songs and stuff from like Mike and I put on there, but you also obviously do
Yeah.
that for other bands. Like it's really good. It's just a cool flowing conversation. You almost
You.
forget you're on like an interview with the way you
Good.
run it. You do great, man. So
Thank you.
how did that come together, and how did you connect with that radio station to do it?
Yeah, thank you for the kind words too.
Hmm.
It is a radio show. It's 1 hour. It's like super funny story how it all happened. So in 2018, I was like almost 3 years sober. I was like 2.5 years sober, and I was going to college, trying to like figure out what I want to do with my life. And I'm like a huge sports fan, like a dumb sports fan, like to the point where it's like annoying to non-sports fans probably. And I kind of was like, I want to get into like sports writing, like maybe I'll change my major to journalism and get into sports writing. And so I was kind of thinking about doing that. And then this guy that I played softball with, randomly, like weeknight softball with, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start a radio show, and it's gonna be covering like local sports, like high school football." He's like, "Would you be down to like do the show with me?" And I was like, "All right, like whatever." I was more intrigued by like learning how to do a radio show than it was like the content. And so the station was 96.5 KZAA. It was like Casa de la Raza, which is like a community center in Santa Barbara. Um, I mean, like Discharge played there, the Ramones
Mm.
played there. It's like a very historical like
Yeah, I mean,
place up here. And so yeah, man, I literally went to radio programmer training with this guy, and learned how to do all the basics, passed the FCC test to like learn to make sure I know all the basics. And then I started doing this radio show with this guy, and it was really about high school football. And like I quickly learned that sports as a job like sucks. At least for me it did.
mm.
Like, it was like we went to lots of high school football games, and like interviewing coaches on the sideline was cool, like halftime interviews, and like but then it's like you gotta edit all that stuff and then put it into a radio show, and then like it was just a lot of
A
work.
lot.
And but through all that, I learned how to program a 1 hour, or that show was 2 hours radio show. And I learned how to do all that stuff, like literally like everything from like interviews to recording to how to run the board and how to produce a live show and like all that kind of stuff. And then after like 5 months of that, I just basically told the dude like I don't really want to do this show anymore. But thank you for putting me on. I'm like I want to do my own show. And at the time, I had started Your Life in America as like just a blog. Like I was writing, which is still, it's a yourlifeinamerica.com. And I was writing like, this is so funny, like sports, like my own like sports take articles. So
Was it
like,
mostly on the Dodgers, or you were just doing everything?
no,
Was
it's
you
like
like the big
everything.
everything?
There's like Dodger stuff, like the Jordan versus LeBron
Oh,
debate,
cool.
like,
Okay.
just like all kinds of random stuff. Cause I was just like wanting to see how that would feel. Like, and then I loved doing it. And then I was listening to a lot of Ceremony at the time, especially the L-Shaped Man, because like Ross Farrar has been like always been a major inspiration to me. And so I was listening to a lot of Ceremony, and they have a song called Your Life in America. That's where the name of the show comes from,
Yeah.
which a lot of people think I'm like a patriot or something. It's like, no, it's a Ceremony song. So that was the name of the blog. And then when I was like, I want to start my own radio show, I was like, well, I already have this blog that I'm writing on called Your Life in America, so I'll just name the radio show that because it's like already a thing.
Mhm.
And and then I didn't, and then I had like my aunt who I was living with at the time would like come on. So I would play hardcore, and my aunt would come on, and we would just talk about like it's like Seinfeld humor, like just
Mhm.
random stuff. And those early Your Life in America shows are still on Spotify. Like if you go way
Oh,
back,
cool.
yeah, they're still there. So it's like literally just me and my aunt talking about like random shit.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I kind of just like, but I would play hardcore. I would play like hardcore, I'd play like Sick of It All and like Madball and like, you know, just like all kind like Trial and like just random like random
Uh,
stuff.
that's
And
cool
then
though. You had
yeah,
like that
just
sports. The Seinfeld talk, and then you're playing sick of it all.
Yeah, yeah. So it
That's
was
sick.
just, you know what it was, man? It was like, it was an accumulation of all the stuff that I like in my creative, like, mind and like all the things I love, sports, music, movies, humor. And I just kind of rolled it into like 1 hour of like music and just, I also love the radio. Like I grew up listening to the radio. I love
Yeah.
talk radio. I love sports talk radio. I still listen to that. I only have a CD player and radio in my car. Like I just, that's like my jam. And so and then I kind of was just like, oh, and I started interviewing some local bands. I did like a 4 hour like DJ, like live DJ set on the radio where I was for like this like punk show at Casa de la Raza, and I interviewed some of the bands for that show. And I was like, oh, this is kind of sick. Like I kind of like interviewing bands. I like talking to people. I do that for a living. And then I just kind of started reaching out to people, and I kind of was like, oh, like I'll do some like hardcore band interviews. And I interviewed like this guy John from the band Slow Bleed, which was like a band from out here. And then dude, I literally just started like DMing people, and like
Mm.
I met, well, but and then I started meeting people like Andy Diehard. Shout out to him. He introduced me to a lot of people. Steve Myers from Heroes and Martyrs Records, formerly Martyr Records. I interviewed him. Just bunch of people, man. And I think I just like had those people had good experiences with like doing the radio show, and they were like, oh, like you should do, they would like tell someone else like, oh, would you be down to have this person on the show? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like I'll interview anybody, like I don't care.
Mhm.
And it just kind of like turned into like where I'm like interviewing Gary Bennett from Kill Your Idols, and I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy, like I love this band. And like
Mm.
and then I'm interviewing like Brian Audley from Incendiary, and Jerry from Stand Still, and Sebastian from Regulate. I'm trying to throw out all my Long Islands
You're
right
hitting
here.
it. You're doing it. All the
Like,
great ones too. All great
yeah,
bands
and
there.
then and
Yep.
then Mike from Become One, Mike's other band Become One.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, man, and then it just that was kind of it, and it just kind of snowballed into like, a band would come play Oxnard, and I'd be like, "Yo, you guys are sick. Like, would you be down to do a radio interview?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I would like interview them, and then they'd be from like, the Midwest, and I'd be like, "Do you know this person from this band?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah." You know what I mean? It just, and now I've got like
Snowballs.
almost 300 radio interviews recorded that are on Spotify.
That's amazing. Now,
Yeah,
do
I think
you?
I'm like getting close to 300. It's like somewhere
That's a
between,
big deal, man.
yeah.
Like that's a big deal. I think you're going to be my 65th episode. So I'm
Oh,
a year and a half in.
that's good.
300, that's a lot. Like that's pretty impressive. That really is. And you're running with it. So that was my next question. Do you have a band on every Saturday night?
I used to when I was
'Cause it's
doing,
hard to get someone
yeah.
every,
So when I was on the old radio station at Casa de la Raza, I was grinding, man. Like every single week, I had a new guest, and I did that show live because it was on Thursdays at 4 p.m. So it was a little bit easier to do live. But like, I mean, I just was like grinding them out like every week. And then I switched to this bigger radio station, which is KCSB. It's a college radio station in Santa Barbara. And I think like it's a bigger station. There's the live internet stream. There's like it's just like, so I kind of have like, and also like I have a kid and I work full time, and so I've definitely dialed back the interviews a little bit. And I think I can be a little bit more like not selective, because I'm usually pretty much down to like interview anybody. Like I don't really care. Unless I'm not down with like their beliefs or something. Unless they're like a
Mhm,
MAGA ICE supporter or something, like
mhm.
I won't interview someone like that. But yeah, it just now it's like I think I've definitely like dialed it back a little bit. But dude, like the last like 5 interviews I've done have been like Demise, Death Threat, um, I can't even remember who else. Like they've been good, you know.
Yeah, ours, I remember you had Death Threat on a little before us. I actually remember that.
Yeah, and I got to interview you guys. Like I got to do like all these like legendary interviews still, you know. Like so
So
I've
question for
definitely
you. When you
yeah,
have a guest on, do you do a lot of research prior? Because a lot of you're very natural the way you have conversations with people.
thank
So,
you.
but you do, but you know what, but not honestly just being a guest, but also listening to your interviews,
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
you personalize the conversation. So is there so, you don't have to go crazy research. I'm not saying you're
Yeah,
you're going nuts with it, but like, are you looking into some things that obviously some talking points that you'd like to hit?
for sure. Yeah. It's
Mm.
100% yes. I yeah, it's hard because it's not hard, but like I only have about 45 minutes. So it's like because I like to get songs in like radio requests from
That's
from
right.
from the band, at least one or two of them. Plus, I'll play one or two of the band's songs who's on the show, and then one or two or maybe three of their radio requests. So I really, at the end of it, I only have about 45 to 50 minutes to actually talk.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I like to do my research on like the OGs to like pay my respects, you know, like bands like your like Overthrow, like just the more like kind of like older stuff because I want to make like be respectful and make sure that I'm like just kind of like doing my homework because
Mhm.
I kind of like I respect people that were in hardcore before me, so like um yeah, I definitely do. I sometimes I'll literally just Google a band and see what comes up. You
It's that simple. And it's
know?
helpful,
Yeah.
like with that. Like I know what you
Um,
mean, and I do this. It's easy to do
yeah.
that now. Like,
And I learned a lot about bands a lot of stuff I didn't know about people and bands I learned from just reading like a No Echo article or a blog from like 2011 that they did an interview on.
mm,
Um, like I just interviewed Lee from Division of Mind and Hard Stripes, and I didn't even know that he was like an industrial techno like DJ type dude.
oh,
I
that's
mean,
cool. Look
and
at
I
that.
just and I just found that out through like looking him up or looking up Division of Mind or something. I can't remember how I found it, and then I found out this whole other like I wouldn't have known that, you know. Sometimes I'll ask people that know the person, like Nardwar type situation. Or, but yeah, I definitely do my research because I don't want to sound, I want the person I'm interviewing, like it's about them, you know what I mean? It's not about me. Like it's not about me or Your Life in America. It's about like this band. So like that's what I try. I always try to go into it with that mindset. Like it's not about me, it's about them. So let me ask them as many questions as I can to highlight what I think is cool about them as a band or what I think is cool about their music. And like, I'm really big on like regional stuff. Like, I think regional pride is such a cool part of hardcore.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing, especially like every sports team is going to have a ripped hardcore logo from it in the next 10 years, you know? So I think that's really cool. I love to talk to people about where they're from and like what it's like to live there because I haven't been to a lot of places.
Yeah, I remember talking about that with you. We got into like Nassau County, like when you visited New York and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
like when I talk to you guys, like tell me about the Long Island serial killer.
yeah.
Like, do you know about
Yes,
that? Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Yeah, he just got sentenced.
yeah, I know.
So
And so I
yeah.
really do. I try to mix in all that kind of stuff, and that's really just because that's just what's interesting to me. And I think that I've noticed over the years that people enjoy talking about that kind of stuff, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not a big like hardcore historian, you know, like I like what I like. I listen to what I've always listened to. I'm open-minded, but I'm not like gonna be able to tell you who, pressed the second edition of the 1987 Warzone record. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? You have a guest on, they could tell you that. That's
Yeah,
how I look at it.
yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I
but
think
I
those
I
guys are
enjoy your show, man.
awesome.
I enjoyed being on it, but I also enjoy listening to it. I do enjoy when they come out. I love the last one with Cheeky from Demise. Cheeky's the man. So like, he's the
Goat,
best. So
yeah.
That was a good. That was
Thanks for listening, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting and thanks for listening. And I'm glad that people still listen to it because it's cool. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. So yeah, it's on 91.9, right, FM, but that's in California. But obviously, if you're
Yeah.
listening anywhere else, you get it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere. It's
Yeah.
usually a couple of days after the show, right? Saturdays of the show usually do it Monday.
No. It usually goes unless I forget to schedule it, which I usually don't. It's like within 20 minutes of the live radio,
Immediately after, so you can check it
it's
out.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can also listen to it live. Like if for some reason you're in New York and it's 1 a.m. and you're awake and it's 10 p.m. out here, you can just go to kcsb.org and there's a live stream. Like there's a live radio stream. So it's like listening to the FM radio, but it's like from the website.
Off the website. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you listen to old episodes that way or no? That's all strictly live.
Yeah, you can. Again at kcsb.org. If you go to like programs and then go to Your Life in America, it has like I think it keeps like my last three archive shows at a time,
Hmm.
which will have the music on it and all
That's
that
cool.
stuff. The Spotify and podcasts or
You
streaming.
can't, right? I guess they'll pull it. Mhm.
Man, yeah, they got I used to put the whole rock block radio request from the band at the end of the interview on Spotify, but now they take it down, so um it's just the interview on Spotify
Cool.
or
Awesome.
Apple or wherever, yeah.
No, but definitely, if you haven't anyone check that show out, it's awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So I guess let's get into it. And it looks like you're wearing a Dodger shirt right now, so it's
Yes.
actually kind of right. It's
Yes.
kind of perfect. And when I met you on Zoom when we did the interview that time, you talked about like how big of a Dodgers fan you were. So where did that passion like start with that? And it's
When
been
I was a kid, man, my
and it's
mom
been
was
forever, right? It's not just,
yeah.
now when they're killing it, right? Like you've known them for a long, you've been a big fan for them for a long time. So,
Yeah, 95 was my first time at Chavez Ravine. My mom, rest in peace to my mom. I miss her. She was a big Fernando Valenzuela fan.
uh,
She grew up going to Dodger Stadium, watching Fernando pitch, Steve Garvey, and Sachs and all those guys in the 80s, late 70s and 80s. Oral Hershiser, Tommy Lasorda, and yeah. So my mom just started taking me to Dodger Stadium when I was 95. I was four, so in the 90s.
grew up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like that's just where, and as a kid going to a baseball stadium is a crazy experience. Like it's
There's nothing
crazy.
like it. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it's like I'm like walking out to like getting in the stadium and then getting to like where you can see the field and it's like
Oh, it's the best. Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like
Still nothing better than like, yeah, it's the
yeah,
best
man. And
feeling.
so I really just kind of grew up just the Dodgers were the team, we
You were
loved.
four. Do you remember your first game?
My first game was I believe a Mike Piazza Mike Piazza hit a home run, I believe.
Ah,
Um and I think it was against the Brewers. I had talked to my mom about this before. Um yeah, Mike Piazza was there and I think hit a home run. I think it was against the Brewers and you could I think I could be wrong about that. I don't have very many brain cells left, so I'm like,
mhm. That's all. You were also four. So,
yeah. But
yeah. Trying to see if you remember that.
going back to then, like Mike Piazza, Raul Mondesi, Gary Sheffield, um, Darren Dreifert, Eric Gagne, like Sean Green, like those are all the Dodgers when I was a small, Eric Karros, like when I
Yeah.
was a young kid. Those are like the Dodgers that I grew up watching, and like the Dodgers were not good back then. Like they were owned by Frank McCourt, and like they didn't put a lot of money into the team. Hideo Nomo and Chanho Park were like Japanese players that were like great but didn't stay. And like the Dodgers were not good back then. They made the playoffs like twice in the 90s, I think, and then from like 97 to '04, they didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah,
So like, the Angels were better than the Dodgers when I was younger,
they
and like
were. They were. And remember they got Guerrero. The Mets,
yeah,
they made
yeah.
mistakenly they could have had him and they lowballed him. That was, it's great. It was a great. I'll never forget. 3 years, 30 million they offered him.
Wow, yeah.
So I mean, it was just, I mean, I would take that. I mean, again, I think anyone here listening would take that. But I mean, Vladimir Guerrero wasn't going to take that. I knew once they
Dude,
did that low ball Wilpon offer that they did that it
yeah.
wasn't happening. And then he went to Anaheim. And they won a World
Yeah.
Series with him, right?
They want no, he was gone. He wasn't there. He got there like right after they won. Um
What's that rivalry like? Anaheim, LA.
it's not a
It's
rivalry.
not
I mean,
anymore
I
because
I think that Angel fans hate Dodger fans more than like Dodger fans don't care about the Angels because they're
nah,
irrelevant. Like I love the Angels, mad respect. Freaking Nolan Ryan is my favorite pitcher of all time. He played for the Angels. Early 2000s Angels were incredible. Like Garrett
they
Anderson,
were.
rest in peace, Garrett Anderson. He just died. He was like a great early 2000s Angels player. Um, but they're just like they're so irrelevant that like no like my close diehard Dodger fan friends, like no one cares about the Angels. Like they're just like they're like the Clippers. Like they're just there and like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's a rivalry, honestly. Maybe like 15, 20 years ago it was, but the
Yeah,
Dodger
Anaheim's been pretty
rivalry,
bad for a while now, and then
they're
the
terrible.
Dodgers took Otani from him. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they haven't been that good for a while. Trout, unfortunately, he's a great player. This guy can't stay on the field. He's always hurt.
The Angels started this year so hot, and Trout was like
Looked like
2014,
Trout, right?
and like they just I don't know what there's like a culture issue. I don't even know. They're just so bad. It's like so sad.
Yeah,
Now they're
yeah,
like bottom of the barrel in the AL West. Like when the A's are above you in your own division and you have Mike Trout on your team, like I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know what the issue is. Yeah, but that's
So
kind of like just been Dodgers my whole life, man.
it's going to be a couple of people here. Who's your favorite Dodger of all time?
Clayton Kershaw, hands down.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
went to
Clayton Kershaw 100% favorite Dodger of all time. Matt Kemp, even though he played for, the Braves and San Diego, like loved Matt Kemp. Andre Ethier was a great Dodger who
yeah,
deserved to win a World Series that never did. Loved Piazza when I was younger, Mondesi, um, Hideo Nomo, but for sure Clayton Kershaw, favorite Dodger of all time. What's interesting is that if you look back at the history of the Dodgers, like they didn't keep players for a long time. That was like a big thing where they didn't sign guys to long-term deals. So all the Dodgers in the, mid to late 90s and in early 2000s to 2010s, they're all like 3 to 5 year guys and then
it's
they're gone.
true. You're right.
So
Not
like
anymore. Right.
but now we got Freddie.
But in the past, you're right. You're 100% right about that.
Yeah, so Kershaw was the only guy that really and Andre Ethier, but yeah, Kershaw for sure, favorite Dodger.
I saw him. I'm a Met fan, as we said. I went to the 2015 playoffs when they played, and he pitched. Of course, I go to the
Hey,
game that
guys
he
beat us,
pitched.
man.
Yeah, we did. Well, yeah, but yeah, I had the jersey. Yeah, and I saw him pitch live. Well, we saw him, the movement on his ball. You could see it, like just from where we were sitting. I
Yeah,
mean, that the Mets could have won that game. That's when they went back, I think, at game 5 and won back in LA.
yeah, it was a
But
great series.
he was so good. Because remember at that point, there was like a little bit of a knock on him in the playoffs, from what I
Oh, for sure.
recall. He was
Yeah,
so dominant. No one could do anything against him except Daniel Murphy, I think, homered off of him because that's all he did that series. But he
yeah.
was so good. What about this era of the Dodgers? Who do you like? You Mookie Betts guy or you?
This era of the Dodgers, it's got to be, gosh, man, I really, really I really love Freddie Freeman, and I know that's like a easy answer, but He's
He's a
just such a
baseball player,
pro,
man.
man. He's just such a pro. Like he's just the walk-off grand slam against the Yankees in the World Series.
Yeah, I like that as a Mets
You
fan.
know, his relationship with his dad, like the stuff he went through with his
Yeah,
kid, and he's just a pro, man. Like he just shows up and he plays baseball and
been that way since the Braves.
you
Yep.
know what I mean? Yeah, and I just and like Mookie Betts is the same way. He just shows up and plays, and those guys are just like, you know, but I mean, I really love Max Muncy too. He's like, I really
I
love
can see
Max
it.
Muncy, and I really love Kike, Enrique Hernandez. Freddie's probably my favorite though, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
like in terms of just like everyday solidified Dodger, like he's just I just think he's a great. He could be like a terrible person, but like I mean, from what I've seen, he's just awesome. You know, he's a dog, man. He's a
Yeah.
baller. He's
He's a
gritty.
perfect left-handed bat. I mean, I know Otani is too, but like he's a left-handed bat that just solidifies the middle of that order. That is just
Yeah.
so
I mean,
it's just so
Otani's the
dangerous.
greatest baseball player of all time. There's like no
I don't know how you can argue that. I
like
really don't. I mean, it's really incredible what he's doing. I mean, the guy gets 50 home runs, but then he'll have a 2.5 ERA.
yeah, he's like he carried a sub one ERA for like his first eight starts and was still like hitting home run. Like it's there's I don't think there's never been a player that can compare to him, and there might
No.
never be.
What we might see, he I could see him influencing kids to want to learn to do the two,
Yeah,
moving up. Now, whoever lands with that lands with that. But you may see that in 20 years from now.
yeah.
But what we're seeing with him is generational. You don't see that.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell my son that, like, which my son does, like, he loves the Dodgers and he loves baseball. And like, but I tell him, you are witnessing and watching live at Dodger Stadium the greatest baseball player of all time. Like,
Yes.
this is the stuff you're gonna tell younger kids when you're older that like you got to watch Otani play. Cause like it's just, yeah, you know, shout out
Enjoy
Japan
it.
too, man. Coolest hardcore dudes from Japan, coolest dudes I've ever met. Like, just like great.
And they travel, right? Fans travel to see him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Dodger Stadium, I've been to one game so far this year, and it's very the Japanese culture at Dodger Stadium is like pretty very intertwined with like now it's like Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium, and Uniqlo's like the Japanese Old Navy pretty much. Um so yeah, man, I'm just so happy that there's nothing like watching your team win a championship.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride because they're in the heart of a very long run. They are.
Yeah.
They are. And I'm not one of those fans because as I said, I'm a Met fan. And either they have the highest or the second highest payroll, and we're 10 games under 500 right now. So I don't have a problem with anything that they do. I just think the teams that complain about it, they should be doing it too then. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I'm sorry that the Mets are struggling, man, because it's tough to
yeah.
what did they lose like 11 games in a row earlier this year?
It was mid-April and they lost 12 in a row and you just can't come back from that. I don't care how well you play after that. Like I think there was a stat that four teams out of I'm going to say the 100 that have done that have ended in 500.
Yeah, yeah, let alone like even make the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not making it, safe to say.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I'm a huge Juan Soto fan. I think I
he's
love
awesome.
when he
He's a
was on
great
the
hitter.
Nationals and they won the World Series. He was so fun to watch that year. Um Lindor, you know who okay, my favorite Met of all time, hands down, David Wright.
Yeah, yeah, I love David Wright as well.
Yeah.
I
Sad
do.
story,
Yeah.
but awesome.
Never got to see it's interesting, right? Like see how the Knicks won the championship, right? Knicks, I know we're talking baseball, but Knicks won the championship. The whole narrative of Cat is going to completely change now
Yeah.
because they won the championship, right?
Yeah.
David Wright, I'm not saying he's Cat, but he's going to go down as an all-time Met. If he would have won a championship with them, and it would have elevated him in terms of stature of where he would have been. So, but
Great
David Wright
comparison. Yeah, great
he did
comparison.
everything right. He really did. He really did. The guy just got destroyed by injuries at the end of his career.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
But
great comparison to Cat. Yeah.
so they could see that. But
My
Dylan,
heart
man,
goes out to you and the Mets, man. I mean, I really hope that they go on a magical run and they get the wild card or something.
yeah, it's not happening. I've given up. I just don't
Yeah,
think it's happening. Yeah. But thank you. I appreciate that. But
yeah,
yeah, it's just hard to come back from a 12 game losing streak. It really, really is, you know. Um, but Dylan, thanks so much, man. This was an awesome conversation about a lot of different things that you're involved in. You're doing so much for the scene and you're loving it. That's the biggest thing you could tell, right?
yeah. Thanks, man.
And check out Your Life in America. It's awesome. You know, if you don't check it out, obviously live, if you're in your area, check it out on Spotify after he drops the episode. Dylan, anything you want to end with before I sign us off?
No, just thanks for having me, man. It's cool to be on the other side of an interview, and thanks for having me. And yeah,
Nope.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Dylan. Thanks, man. Hang tight here. I'll sign us off. Thank you for listening to the What Lies Ahead podcast playlist, which is available on all streaming platforms. Go save the What Lies Ahead podcast playlist on Spotify that features all bands that were on the show. For more information on future episodes, you can go to my Instagram account and follow at What Lies Ahead _podcast and on Facebook by searching What Lies Ahead podcast. See you on the next episode.